Just ahead on American Black Journal, we are dedicating the entire program to the Detroit Jazz Festival. We're going to talk about this year's lineup, what's new at the festival, and you're going to get the first look at this year's official poster. Plus, a performance by the Detroit Jazz Festival All-Star Generations Band. It is one of my favorite shows of the year, so stay right there. American Black Journal starts now.
Masco Corporation is proud to manufacture innovative and environmentally friendly products for the home. Delta faucets, craft-made in Merillat cabinets, and Behr brand paints have all been designed with you in mind. Masco and its family of companies, serving Michigan communities since 1929.
Support also provided by the W.K. Kellogg Foundation, a partner with communities where children come first. The Cynthia and Etzel Ford Fund for Journalism at Detroit Public TV.
The DTE Foundation proudly supports 50 years of American Black Journal in covering African American history, culture, and politics. The DTE Foundation and American Black Journal, partners in presenting African American perspectives about our communities and in our world.
Also brought to you by Ally, Nissan Foundation, and viewers like you. Thank you.
Welcome to American Black Journal. I'm Stephen Henderson. The Detroit Jazz Festival is celebrating its 40th anniversary this year. The world's largest free jazz festival is expected to attract more than 300,000 people to downtown Detroit. The international event takes place over the Labor Day weekend at Hart Plaza and in Campus Martius Park. Quicken Loans is the presenting sponsor for the festival, which features jazz legends along with up-and-coming musicians. This year's artist in residence is bass virtuoso Stanley Clarke. Here to tell us more is Chris Collins, who is president and artistic director of the Detroit Jazz Festival Foundation, along with Jasmine DeForest, who is director of community sponsorships at Quicken Loans, and Detroit Jazz bassist Marion Hayden. It is great to see all of you again.
Thanks, Stephen.
Good to see you.
All right, so 40 years, that is a very big milestone to be celebrating this fall.
It's huge, and the fact that so many players from the very beginning have made sure that the festival remained free, which is really something special in the world. And then additionally, any artist will tell you around the world, Detroit Jazz Festival is one of the few real jazz festivals left in the world. We really concentrate on the art and the craft, but we look to expand what that means, what that vocabulary is, and even the band that's going to be playing later today is a combination of some of the up-and-coming cats with some of the more experienced players, and at the festival you'll get to see a lot of that where, you know, the heavies, as you know, we're bringing back all our artists in residence for the past 6 or 7 years. So Pat Metheny, Ron Carter, Josh Redmond, Terrence Blanchard, Stanley Clarke, all playing and intermingling together. And they've been, some of them have been working throughout the year with some of our youth as well, kind of preparing them for performances or rehearsing with our professional orchestras and the Detroit Jazz Fest Big Band. It all culminates at the festival. So it's going to be a really exciting bunch of unexpected moments.
Yeah, one of the cool things about the festival is that I kind of feel like it just rolls, right? From one thing to the next all weekend. There are no downsides. There are no sort of down spots. I mean, everything there is worth seeing.
It is, you know, 4 performance stages plus the talk tent, plus the jam session stage that goes to about 2 a.m. where all the cats are hanging out. And, you know, I always say this because it's a great tool. You can register for the Detroit Jazz Fest Live on Google Play or the App Store. It's our app. It has everything, all the schedules, all the overlaps that you can even get the streaming subscription. You can see all 4 stages, all 4 days in real time. So you can really plan your weekend, see what you want to see, and then see those things that, you know, intrigue you, that might surprise you along the way.
You could be in Campus Martius with your phone watching what's going on in Hart Plaza.
Before you make the walk. That's right. That's right.
Yeah. Jasmine, Quicken has sponsored this event for a couple of years now, right?
Yeah, so this is our 3rd year as presenting sponsor, but we have sponsored and supported in the past, and we're just excited and proud. Chris and the entire Jazz Fest Foundation team, Gretchen Valade, have done such a great job with spearheading this festival, and it shines such a positive light on our city, which we all love. And so we are looking forward to it, especially with it being the 40th year. I mean, that's huge. And as Chris mentioned, this is like one of, if not the largest free jazz festival in the country.
Yeah.
And so it's just a great opportunity to have a diverse audience, age, ethnicities, all sorts of music lovers to come out and enjoy such a great weekend in the city around music. And that's what music does. So.
Yeah. And it happens in your front yard.
Yeah, it happens exactly. We're headquartered downtown. We love downtown. We have invested more than $200 million into the community, and that's just community projects alone. And so we also believe in culture, art, and music, and how really the foundation of it bringing people together. And that's what we love to see, is just people. And the Jazz Fest is always an example that I give to folks that I'm talking to, our partners, as just one of the leading examples of, hey, we send our photography team out and we're like, hey, we want to get some photos. We want diverse photos.
Yeah.
The Jazz Fest is such a great example. You might see an 80-year-old sitting next to a 16-year-old, and there's people from Southwest Detroit, the west side of Detroit. 25% of the audience is from outside of the state of Michigan. And so it's just a great opportunity to spark new connections around music. So we love the Jazz Festival and are proud to be the presenting sponsor.
Yeah. So while we have been talking, we have been joined by another guest, the official poster of the Jazz Festival. This is its debut. Is that right, Chris?
That is correct. World premiere.
I actually really love that one. Oh my goodness. Tell us about the artist.
Well, the original painting was done by Giuliano Crivelli. It was a special painting just for this poster. He's from Italy in his young 90s, and he is coming to join us in Detroit for the festival. We're going to do an exhibition of his other jazz works, but it's a representation of, the unity and the diversity that is expressed in jazz, and certainly the sense that the Detroit Jazz Festival is really in our city. The city is its backdrop. It's connected to the DNA of who we all are here, and certainly to all Americans, because this music is the root of who we are as a culture.
What I love about this poster is, and this is not true of every year, but the people that are in it, right? That it's about the people who are performing, but also the people who are there watching.
Exactly, because from, as Jasmine mentioned, we have a great Jazz Festival Foundation team, but we have incredible audiences. I mean, artists want to play at the festival. They want to record at the festival because of our Detroit audiences. They're phenomenal. They get it, man. They're locked in. And you mix that with the great artists on the stage, my incredible tech crew that make sure the artists get everything they need, so they give you the best performance of their life is what we're trying to do. The end result is memorable experiences and setting the stage so the festival propagates for another 100 years as a free festival and as a foundation that does year-round engagements with the community, with youth, with all ages and families. And in the end, it's about bringing us together and making a strong statement about who we are and to the rest of the world.
Marion, this festival is about artistry. You are one of the many, many artists who take part in that. Talk about the things that we'll see this year in terms of artistry at the festival.
Well, first of all, I just can't say how excited I am to have Stanley Clarke,
my
brother bassist,
right.
to be the artist in residence. I just think that's just fantastic. And it's not the first time we've had a bass player. Also, we've also had one of my great mentors, Ron Carter.
Right.
So I just think that even as a musician, for us, we get the double dose. We get to have wonderful performance opportunities, as well as going to see so many of our great heroes here on stage. Kenny Garrett is going to be here this year. He's a fabulous Detroiter. I'm doing a set with part of the Homecoming series with Sheila Jordan. And Sheila is just she's also a young 90-something person, and just fantastic. She's a walking legacy of jazz history. Just so many stories, so many people she's known. She still sounds fabulous. She's so engaging. So she's just going to be tremendous. And so I just can't tell you how excited I am about the entire thing. We have jam sessions. The young folks that we just worked with were just tremendous. We had a chance to do a week of the Dirty Dog with Cameron Graves, with the Jazz Fest All-Star Band. I mean, that was just over the top. So I'm really truly looking forward to the festival.
Well,
it's just so exciting for us.
And for you, I mean, as a Detroit artist, I mean, we do a good job at the festival of featuring Detroit artists, but
Yes.
I also feel like it features the history of jazz here and that incredible legacy that you're now caring for and was passed down to you from other people. I mean, that's a huge part of why this works, I think.
It's an important part of it, and it's one of the things that I really like the most, especially about Chris's artistic leadership, is that sometimes you go to some cities and basically you go to a festival and you kind of, maybe different artists, but you don't have a sense of the legacy of that particular city.
Right.
And you can never leave Detroit and not have a sense of our legacy if you come to our jazz festival. You are going to understand something about where Detroit fits into jazz, which is in the most foundational place.
Yes.
Most foundational.
Yeah.
In all the different genres of music. We're really foundational. And so when you come here, you're going to know jazz and you're going to know something about Detroit too.
Yeah.
So important.
All right, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're going to talk more about the Detroit Jazz Festival, and we're going to get an in-studio performance. But first, here's a 1988 Detroit Black Journal interview with jazz artist Najee.
Well, you talk about the mix of music that you have and your influences from Charlie Parker to Grover Washington. Do you see that mix in your music?
Yeah, well, that's been my experience as a musician. I've been fortunate to play in different musical idioms. So I think in the music I play, I try to have a little combination of all of that in there because it's just natural in my experience.
You didn't start out with the saxophone.
No, I started with clarinet in school.
Why was that?
Well, the saxophone chairs were taken in school at the time. And so I was forced to play clarinet based on what was available at the time. Fortunately, playing that instrument, it didn't take me away from playing saxophone totally because my teacher encouraged me and told me that if I could play clarinet, I can certainly play saxophone.
And then you got the first sax at 14? That
well,
was
the
yours.
first one that I owned, yes. My mother surprised me one day and came home with one.
All right, now we have a special treat. The Detroit Jazz Festival All-Star Generations Band came to our studios to perform Planetary Prince by composer Cameron Graves. Here are Chris Collins, Marion Hayden, Alan Denard, Ian Blunden, and Tariq Gardner. That, of course, was fantastic and a great preview of what you'll be able to see at the Detroit Jazz Festival. I'm here with Chris Collins, who was on tenor sax. Marion Hayden was on bass, and Jasmine DeForest is here from Quicken Loans. Marion, I want to give you a chance to talk about Stanley Clarke, who is the featured artist in residence this year. I am a huge fan of the bass, and am trying to learn myself how to play. One of the things I love about it, though, is it's this incredible versatility that it has, and I'm not sure people really understand. They think, well, that's the bottom of all of the music, but it can do many, many different things.
Oh, it can do so much. I mean, my concept for the bass is that generally it's the lead from behind instrument.
I like
it
that.
Really is. It really is very much the the harmonic rudder of any band.
Yeah.
And a lot of times people are not noticing that, but people there in the band knows that, because you notice if the bass goes off the rails, the band
Everything
goes
else
off the
falls
rails.
apart
So
too.
that's how
right.
you know where the rudder is.
That's right.
But of course, Stanley is someone who just is able to be so broadly conceptual and creative about his approach to playing the bass. I first probably heard him first when he made probably his biggest splash with Chick Corea. Chick Corea's band Return to Forever. And but of course he had a lot of things that he was doing prior to that time. But at that time, I just found that I felt that he was revolutionary in terms of his approach. I thought that he was very bass forward. And as a matter of fact, my band Straight Ahead actually opened a couple shows for Stanley. And the last show that we were on, he actually had a bass player with him.
Oh, is that right?
Which I liked, which said to me that he not only was he planning on being foundational, but he also was going to be playing the bass as a soloist.
As a soloist,
yeah, he was exploring more his option as a soloist. And as I like to say, everybody needs a bass player, even a bass player.
Yeah, even a bass player, right? That's right. In fact, the commercial that I saw a week ago for the festival featured Stanley and playing in the kind of soloist role. I mean, showing that real broad versatility of that instrument.
Yeah, he's in addition to being a great bass player, but he's an incredible melodic player, and the way he develops as a soloist. But we're also going to hear at the festival, his compositions in different formats, and Stanley Clarke as conductor of orchestra with his final piece, the tribute to Boys in the Hood. So we're going to see a lot of sides of this incredible musician.
Yeah. Talk about the year-round component of the Jazz Festival and how important that is.
Super important. The Jazz Festival Foundation, which came about after Gretchen Relade, really came into the picture, it gave a structural foundation to everything we do, including the Jazz Festival itself, which is our signature event. But throughout the year, in addition to all of the rehearsals and commissions and international exchanges that we're doing in preparation for the signature event itself, we're also doing a myriad of educational events, community outreach, some small club things, a lot of competitions. You'll see the winners at the festival, and myself, just a lot of engagement, a lot of conversation with musicians in our community and around the world to understand what the Cats are doing and what would be special this coming year for the festival. And certainly the 40th this year, you're going to see the result of a lot of those year-round things and a lot of those long conversations with great artists.
Yeah, and you guys are also involved in that year-round.
Yeah, and it's one of the reasons why we support the Jazz Festival. I often say, a lot of times people consider sponsorships as you just cut a check, the organization pays for the event or program, but with the Jazz Festival and the Jazz Festival Foundation, we receive our ROI over and over again. Yeah. Education is very important to us, and as Chris just mentioned, they're doing a lot of times free educational programming. They're going back into Detroit public schools and reaching out to the students in the band, members of those, some of which who performed last year. And this year we have Cameron Graves, who is the featured artist of our Entitled series, which is presented by Quicken Loans, performing with some of the alumni bands. So we love the fact that there's year-round educational opportunities, year-round educational programming, opportunities for emerging musicians to connect with legends and icons. Even this cool cat over here, Chris, to provide mentorship, to learn and to develop. And so it's one of the backbone reasons why we support the Jazz Festival, because it's not just the festival, it's not just Labor Day weekend, it's year-round.
And that legacy, passing that legacy on to that next generation, I know is something you think about all the time, Chris.
Incredibly important, and it's every level of musician. It's passing it on to our audiences and to the artists. You know, it's an education for all of us every moment. And you know, some of the special projects, like I mentioned, the competitions, you'll see the results of those, and often the results of those things turn out to be artists that go on to make big names for themselves in the music world. So it's working. We're supporting new artists. We're supporting new careers, and the programs are really bringing it together. And you know, having incredible people like Marion Hayden in our community, who she does a lot of the international exchange programs with us in Japan and Panama and whatnot, makes it a community. It's a family effort, and you feel that at our jazz festival. You feel the result of it all year round, and the youth feel it, our audiences feel it, and I know the trust we've developed with artists like Chick Corea and Stanley Clarke, they feel it.
So I am looking forward to the entire festival, but I also have to say that Macy Gray being part of it, which is, you know, one of those kind of surprising, you know, not everybody knows that Macy Gray has a great jazz album and is really interested in this kind of thing. So
first time I heard her, what a voice!
It is unbelievable.
And then when she applied for, I heard her do Duke Ellington one night, and it blew me away years ago. And yet, in addition, we have to mention there's the simulcast on Sunday night
on Detroit Public Television,
8 o'clock. The only one we do, right? And WRCJ as well. And it's part of the Homecoming series, the great Dee Dee Bridgewater, with the New Orleans Jazz Orchestra, the North American premiere of that particular music. She's incredibly special, and that performance is going to be something to behold.
Yeah, she blew it out at the Democratic presidential debates.
Yes,
didn't
she
she?
That was
I
unbelievable,
was there.
right?
She was amazing. It was beautiful.
Right, well, congratulations on 40 years, and we will
Thank you.
see you Labor Day weekend.
I'll look for you.
Yeah. As Chris said, Detroit Public Television and WRCJ 90.9 FM are going to be at the Detroit Jazz Festival over the Labor Day weekend and simulcasting on Sunday night. Check out DetroitPBS.org for all of the details there. That's our program for today. You can go to AmericanBlackJournal.org for more information on our guests, and you can always connect with us on Facebook and on Twitter. We'll see you next time.